Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Cody Johnson with the recap of your news from around the Columbia Basin from this past week. In sports, we get ready for the next round of the NFL playoffs with the Seahawks in Atlanta on Sunday. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. One of our top stories this week was about the potential for new jobs in Warden, as Moses Lake waits for a new food manufacturing plant to be built later this year. Warden looks forward to a new plant that holds potential for jobs and Grant County farmers.
When it comes to the city of Warden, Pacific Coast Canola General Manager Matt Upmeyer has one word on his mind: opportunity.
I'm pretty excited about the opportunity. I mean, this is really the culmination of a lot of years of hard work that's come together. We've built the largest expeller press plant in North America right here in Grant County.
The state-of-the-art plant started testing and commissioning its crushing equipment in December. This is well ahead of schedule, and Upmeyer expects they'll ramp up to full production within the next 6 months. He says that creates an opening for area farmers.
We've got a great opportunity for farmers to leverage their ability to produce and grow canola and bring it to the plant. And it's kind of neat when you see that canola grown in Washington, it's crushed in Washington, and could potentially be going to a biodiesel or a food company right here in Washington. It really is a state and regional thing that's going to be a huge positive impact on the economy.
The $110 million plant brought 50 new jobs to the area, and Upmeyer says the economic benefits don't stop there. As many as 35 trucks are expected to come and go from the facility on a daily basis, opening the door for local trucking companies, restaurants, hotels, and other businesses. When the plant is fully operational, it will process more than 350,000 metric tons of canola a year.
We'll actually buy in excess of $200 million worth of canola every year. So, you add it up, in the next 4 to 5 years, we'll have added $1 billion of revenue to the economy in the product that we're consuming from local farmers, regional farmers.
The company plans to buy as much canola as possible from Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and Montana, although they'll start out purchasing the bulk from Canada. Upmeyer says local farmers haven't had much of a market for the crop before now.
Long term, we think this is a perfect place to have a plant. We've got farmers that can grow canola. We think there's a great opportunity for them to include it as a rotation crop, and we've got a lot of demand for oil on the West Coast.
To make the kosher food-grade oil, the canola is brought into the plant, cleaned, heated, and pressed.
We are a bit unique in the fact that we're an expeller press plant, so we mechanically remove the oil from the seed as opposed to others who use solvent.
Upmeyer says the chemical-free process allows the company to market their oils to health-conscious consumers. The plant will also produce meal for swine and poultry feed, and some of the oil may go to biodiesel production.
We've got again, in the Pacific Northwest, one of the largest biodiesel manufacturers in the U.S. So we have certainly a biodiesel demand draw, but then the West Coast of the United States is a huge market for edible oil. We've seen canola oil demand grow in the U.S., and we expect that to continue.
Upmeyer says Pacific Coast Canola made a solid decision when they opted to build in Warden.
It's really a good fit. We think geographically we're in the right spot right here in Grant County.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
And we want to thank Ryan Lancaster for putting that report together for us. This weekend, the Seattle Seahawks are in Atlanta playing the Falcons. Pretty much everyone we know is excited about that playoff game. But a postal worker in Ephrata has us all beat. Here with the story is Bill Stevenson.
The first thing you see is her hair. It's colored blue and green and shows the level of love Margie Wick has for the Seattle Seahawks. She admits to being a super fan.
Fanatic. Well, and it's really not, it's the Seahawks, I've always loved them because it's our team.
Her workstation at the Ephrata Post Office is covered with souvenirs, Seahawks memorabilia, and pictures of her and her husband at every game. Her smile and eagerness to talk about the Seahawks is pretty easy to see. It is a connection she has with a lot of people in the community.
Oh yeah, they love the hair. Everybody, everybody in town wouldn't even know who I am anymore without the hair. My granddaughter wouldn't know who I was without the hair.
She can't wait for the Seahawks to win a Super Bowl, but when they do, it will mean a change for Margie.
The hair has been around for 7 years. I've had it blue and green all year for 7 years. I decided until we win the Super Bowl, it's going to stay this way.
Every home game, she can be found standing in the front row cheering on her boys. Many of the fans know her as the Sprinkler.
Well, when I first got my season tickets, it was in the later 90s, and that was when Robinson and Ingram and Jackson all did the sprinkler in the end zone. And so when they disbanded that, because they thought it looked like a machine gun, I decided that I'm going to be the sprinkler. So I wear a sprinkler on my head and been doing it. And now people are finally starting to figure out what it is. My favorite right now, of course, is Mr. Wilson. Whose isn't?
Seattle is facing the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday after winning their first postseason road game since 1983. And the Sprinkler has one thing to say.
Oh, we're going. We're going to win. And I do. I truly believe that we're going all the way. It's time.
More big changes are coming for Moses Lake, and in particular, the Moses Lake Police Department. The police will be looking for a new police chief to replace Dean Mitchell.
Moses Lake Police Chief Dean Mitchell is retiring this spring. After 34 years with the city, he says it's time to move on. City Manager Joe Gavinsky made the announcement at the end of Tuesday's council meeting.
Dean will be leaving the city by retiring on March 3rd of this year.
It's been a great experience, it really has. I came here in 1979 and never dreamed I'd be here. I was 22 years of age, 34 years later, and I've watched a positive transition take place within this police department over those years.
When Mitchell came onto the force, the police station was brand new and the department had 17 officers. 3 decades later, the building is fast filling up with 34 officers.
And proud to say that the vast majority of our police officers that are here stay here, and we've been able to retain good employees.
Mitchell himself moved to Moses Lake from Ellensburg after a short stint with that city's police department. He was quickly promoted to sergeant, where he spent 9 years before becoming assistant chief for 12 more, then chief. Mitchell says he's tried to maintain a focus on service and integrity. To do that, he says he's hired the best crew he can find and formed coalitions with other agencies.
In order for us in a small community to be effective, we really had to develop partnerships with other law enforcement agencies and other public service agencies such as our school district.
Programs he's helped implement include school resource officers, the multi-agency drug task force, a major crimes investigative unit, and other units focused on traffic safety, street crime, and fugitives. He hasn't realized all his goals. He'd like MLPD to have a firing range of his own again and says the building is in dire need of upgrades.
I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to see those 2 projects through, but there's a number of programs that we were able to implement over the years that I feel very good about.
He also feels good about the friendships he's forged over the years.
It's hard to describe the camaraderie that you develop when you're involved in high-risk situations, and that's probably the most difficult part to walk away from, is those relationships that you have.
But he doesn't plan to go far. Mitchell and his wife will continue living in Moses Lake, where he says he already has a part-time job lined up.
We'll move on. It's time to try something different. And I tell you what, this department's in good shape. We have some very competent and very qualified people here, a number of people that could probably step right into this position. Very appreciative of the opportunity to be able to serve. This has been a great community, great people here in this community. Later, my friend.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks, Ryan. Each of the people you see here have warrants for their arrest and are wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks you not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day, or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be right back after these messages with the latest weekend forecast from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center.